So apparently there's outrage in the country because some people are not standing for the Star-Spangled Banner, and for good reason, to bring to light an issue where African Americans are not being treated the same as white people in this country. That is a provable fact. They are killed by cops on a much larger scale per capita, even when they are unarmed. So it's not like, oh yeah, they're more dangerous. No, even when they're unarmed, killed at a much greater percentage. Arrested at a greater percentage, even if they're doing the same crime and at the same rate as white Americans. There's a problem. Colin Kaepernick started pointing it out. So now it is taking on a life of its own. There's high school students, black and white, and coaches all kneeling. There's other people in the NFL doing it. And then last night on Monday Night Football, the Eagles, 3 players did it. Let's show you who they are. It's Stephen Means, Malcolm Jenkins, and Ron Brooks. I love when they raise their fist in the air. I think that is a powerful, powerful pose, and I think it is for a great cause. Now, I want to give you Malcolm Jenkins' reason for doing it. He says, for me, it has nothing to do with this country or the flag or the anthem in itself. Really, it's just to continue to push forward the conversation about social injustice, and that's a range of things from police brutality to wages and job opportunities, education. That is true, but he's actually underplaying it because, in fact, it should have to do with the Star-Spangled Banner. Now, some of you might have seen this, some of you might not have seen it. Now, normally, we don't read or sing the entire Star-Spangled Banner before these games. We leave out the 3rd verse. Why do we leave it out? Because it says this: no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. So when Francis Scott Key wrote Land of the Free, he didn't mean black people, he meant white people, and part of their freedom was to make sure that the slaves had terror in their flight and glooms in their grave. Now, if you're wondering, was Francis Scott Key a slave owner? Why, yes, he was. Now, let's give you context, because this was about the War of 1812, and so it wasn't that Francis Scott Key just wrote the whole thing about, hey, isn't this a lovely country, plus I hate black people, and that's why I keep them as slaves. It was in the context of the War of 1812, although he does think that. In fact, here, I'll give it to you now. What does Francis Scott Key think of black people? Here's what he wrote. They are, quote, a distinct and inferior race of people, which all experience proves to be the greatest evil that afflicts a community. Let's be clear there. He's not saying slavery is the greatest evil. He's saying black people are the greatest evil. That's why I have to keep them as my own personal property. And I'm supposed to stand for that. And black people in this country are supposed to stand for that banner. Okay, so the context is the War of 1812. Now, I'm taught in my high school, back when I'm a kid, the goddamn British came in, they burned the White House, they're trying to retake the country. Come to find out, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So did the British do some things against us? Absolutely. They had a war going on with France at the time. They blockaded a lot of our ships. They blocked our trade. And then on top of that, they captured 10,000 of our guys, and then they used them in their own army. That's why we were mad. We were right to be mad. That's a good reason for war, I guess. If there's a good reason for war, that would be among them. But it's not like we were completely innocent. We actually went to go conquer Canada. And, by the way, you know what we said? We said that it would be easy because we would be greeted as liberators. Literally. Turns out we were not greeted as liberators by Canada, and they fought us. And it turns out we got our ass kicked up in Canada. Read your history. So we go into Canada, we're disorganized, and most of the British troops are fighting the French, but we lose anyway in Canada. Now, the British are now in a conflict with us, and so they think, all right, now here's a number of things we're going to do. We're going to fight them in Canada. Then on the west, we want to give the Native Americans their own country so that the Americans do not encroach further into the west. So they're not doing it for their health. They're not doing it because they're angels. There's politics involved. But nonetheless, they were for a Native American state, and they were for stopping us from killing all the Native Americans. Okay? Interesting. Now, how about the slaves? The British, again for their own self-interest, but remember they had also ended slavery before we did. and also, I guess, for morality, but it doesn't matter why they did it. What they did was the right reason, right thing, no matter what the reason. They said, let's go and liberate the slaves, and then, yes, use them against the Americans, because they might be a little bit motivated to fight against the people who had enslaved, killed, and raped them. Fair enough point, right? So they go to do that, and in fact, they do that with a number of former slaves, and they become the colonial Marines, and they fight against us too. So Francis Scott Key writes that not just because he's against runaway slaves, but because he's saying those damn slaves switched over to the British side, they're fighting us, so we will give them terror and we will send them to their graves. Now, does that make it better? Not much. Not much at all. If you were a slave, what would you have done? Okay, so in case you're wondering, hey, we eventually won the War of 1812. Of course, it's not black and white. It doesn't work that way. We lost in Canada, but we prevented a Native American state. We did continue to go down south, eventually got Florida, and eventually got all the West. And yes, we did a peace treaty and ended that war. Yes, they burned down the White House, but we won in Baltimore, and that's when Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. So what happened to those slaves that the British had freed? Well, after the U.S. and British signed a peace treaty at the end of 1814, the U.S. government demanded the return of American property, which by that point numbered about 6,000 people. The British refused. Most of the 6,000 eventually settled in Canada, with some going to Trinidad, where their descendants are still known as Americans. So that's the real history of the Star-Spangled Banner, and not a pretty one. So you'll excuse people if they aren't overly enthusiastic about standing up and saluting that history. Doesn't mean that America is a bad country and we made a decision and it's purely evil. It means that good things have been done by America, very, very bad things have been done by America. It's both true. We should understand and appreciate that history and work towards the better ideals. And let's redo the things we did well, like the Marshall Plan, and all the things like the United Nations and human rights that we have insisted on across the world. But let us not remake those same mistakes, and let's not celebrate the ugly part of our history. I think that's a fair request. And most importantly, let's fix our own country right now.